The convoy's mission for today will be to move from Stratus Air Base to Camino Firing Range. The platoon will assault Camino Air Base and clear it of hostile forces. The convoy will be a reconnaissance patrol up to the RP point, where the mission set will change from a reconnaissance patrol to a combat patrol on foot, while the VIX move to a location for a good SBF or support by fire location. As a CC or ACC, we'll need to first realize what terrains and dangers, especially for reconnaissance patrol, we'll have to encounter. So the first one that we can essentially establish is when we're leaving the wire of Stratus Air Base, we're going to deem all of this area hostile territory. The first thing that we can look for, and most dangerous to us, would be the city of Agineria Marina. If possible, we're going to try not to take that route. So that gives us one pretty decent route to start with. We're going to take our right here. The next issue of our terrain is going to be this winding hill over here and this winding hill over here. When we're coming up, we'd be completely exposed to our outside elements, but it's a risk that we might just have to take based on the fact that even if we did go through the city, we'd still be exposed from all these angles. So I crafted up a little bit of a convoy brief. This is how essentially you guys should do it. So stepping off from Stratus Air Base, we'll be crossing the wire, pulling out. When we come up to our first checkpoint, it's going to be our first right turn. So it's the most obvious, and essentially that's why you want to mark checkpoints as. We're going to keep moving. And down at checkpoint 2, there's a split in the road, a Y. It's good to communicate to your guys, tell them that this is where you're turning, keep left at checkpoint 2. And the reason that we want to say keep left would be, there's multiple turns, and as much as we could put checkpoints on every single turn, it's just a little bit better to put one checkpoint down and keep the map look clear and open. The next one would be checkpoint 3. This is where you could do something like have the old outpost, as mentioned in the brief. So when people are driving by, it's something for them to acknowledge that, oh, this is checkpoint 3. And that way, if they turned over here, they'd be like, where's old outpost? We can't find old outpost. And that's a good indication that they're probably lost. So we're going to hold left at checkpoint 3. We're going to come down, go past checkpoint 4 again. Electrical grid over here. It's a pretty decent landmark. At checkpoint 4, we could probably even tell them just to hold right after checkpoint 4. They're going to be passing a whole bunch of left turns. None of these are the way to go. And of course, our rally point. Because we're attacking Camino Air Base, we're trying to kind of have the element of surprise. So this is why I would have it right over here. We have tree cover, we have decent tree cover. We can start moving our guys down. And then if we wanted to incorporate the vehicles, I think a decent area of that would be have the guys go down, probably get ready their assault, or at least start the assault while the VIX roll out. And they could come all the way down here, or we could even clear this area out, which would be a little bit better. But after that, having the vehicles set up here so they have a good firing support onto this with their support by fire element, while the rest of the element can assault through and essentially take Camino Air Base. Another note would be having kind of just your backup route or your backup plan if this goes down. Like say there's a roadblock here and there's people shooting at you. We're just gonna jump to the to our secondary route. Another note would be coming back. Sometimes it's not the best option to just go back the same way that we came in. So just opening those multiple avenues of approach and egress is essential for convoy operations. Next step is full operation. After kind of establishing your checkpoints or rally points and just your overall route, essentially just be getting your guys ready, like establishing who's going to be in what big and where that big is going to be in the ring, and then also like what big. So essentially like walking through my planning for this. So your first big is going to be your nav big. It's going to have our 50 cal, so we have some penetrating power. It's essentially why I want that on the front. It can deal with an overall good situation, but we're not like Mark 19, just in case, you know, we need precision. Next thing is going to be the 240 Bravo. It's kind of got that anti-personal, high rate of fire, so it's pretty decent. Really only infantry and most anti-infantry. Next thing would be our Mark 19. It's a little bit iffy, convoy commander on this guy, but you know, having just a good amount of firepower, if you need, you can pull it around and test it. Maybe even having a convoy commander just overseeing everything right here. It's just a better idea to have that. And then in the rear, I'm not sure if it's ever going to come from the rear, especially since people is pushing through a lot of the stuff. I want that 50 cal just in case BTR have some penetrating power. Alright, so the next big thing to worry about, 360 security. And how does that look on a convoy? Well, got it set up. Essentially, your nav big is just always going to be you're the first one to counter ship, bro. Gunner is just going to be scanning, the commander is going to be scanning, and the driver is basically only going to be scanning the road. Everyone else in the vehicle is going to be around and just active whatever they can see out those windows. Second one is just going to point in the opposite. Well, you know, right or left. They kind of get to choose this one. It can be set up differently for the convoy, so you can get elevated, but essentially, the third big is just going to be the other direction, but the second big is going to be the rear big is just going to be rear security. When taking contact, is that the vehicles can talk to each other and call out contact, and these guns don't always have to be moving, and it does in 360. You can turn and engage target, sure. But it is very important that the gunner is also communicating with the shredding shotgun, the A-driver, and the driver. Basically everything that they're seeing too, because they have opposing eyes. The next operation is herringboning. So as you can see, we only have 4 bigs in this car. But, you know, they come across like a roadblock, something that they're going to need to stop for. So if it's a minute or less, good thing to call would be a short haul. It's basically, I would keep all your dismounts anchored. We literally think that we're about to pull off a little bit, but you still are stopping. So what we're going to do is the first big, the nav big, pull off to the left or right, and basically the whole convoy after them is just going to veer off to a different side. It's kind of like an outward zebra effect. Also an important note is keep your spacing. This is honestly pretty close, but you know what happens sometimes when you just see it and you slam your brakes and everyone just like has to do the same thing. That's pretty close for an ecosystem. Secondly, be trying to veer soft off into a 45 degree. Kind of gives the convoy a little bit more fire, especially the front and the sides. You know? And basically also if infantry have to step out the long haul or guy, is going too fast. He's going to be way up here. Let's say like the next vehicle isn't as fast. It creates this roadblock kind of thing, a little traffic jam where this guy will be way ahead, and essentially, and it can go either way. Have this guy right here being way ahead with the others, just splitting up the convoy, and it's just kind of an overall nightmare since rate of march can kind of determine when you're just going to get caught off guard. This guy can be completely separated, being taken rocket fire, and if you're going too slow too, you're super easy target. But when you're going fast, you can spread out your convoy a little bit too much, and now you don't have that fire support when there's a whole squad in the open and there's only one Vic here and the other two don't show up for the next minute, 30 seconds, and then other guy out is like a couple minutes away. You're screwing yourself. So just establishing a good rate of march, being able to plan off that too, and then having a good nav, be able to be like, hey, I see these guys are lagging behind. Slow off the throttle, go harder on the throttle. It doesn't have to be completely the rate of march. If they say it's rate of march is like 40, you don't have to be like 40 constantly, but it's the rule of thumb essentially. Technically, just this would essentially be more of a long haul because they're getting ready to attack the Camino air base or Iron Range. And basically, you'd have all your troops dismount. Our plan was to use the vehicles. So this is going to be our assaulting force. So, I mean, it's small, but I obviously took all the vehicle, the drivers, and vehicle commanders out. So it's just going to be the drivers and the commanders together. But it could be the vehicle commander. It does make the Vic a little bit more useful to have vehicle commanders. But that always determines numbers too. And the best thing to do is always keep your convoy commander. It does not have to be that involved. It can be just a test to lead the whole convoy. But knowing their job and being able to do it and staying with the vehicles if that's their job. So otherwise we could probably just dismount everyone here, continue on the rest of the mission. But yeah, I'm gonna keep rolling from here. So a good end to this mission right here. The assaulting forces assaulting, doing their thing, and the vehicles kind of hanging themselves back. An RPG will kill one of these things in one hit, and cords and other high caliber weapons will just tear these things to shreds. So we need to use them as far back as we can, but as effectively close as we can to support. So having this as like a support by fire element, just shooting this, keeping this suppressed, destroying everything that they can see, and talking to the assaulting forces. They do have penetrating weapons like this 50 cal. If there was someone in this house that are just giving the ground forces a rough time, they could just communicate to their 50 cal gunner and be like, hey, we're having issues here. Can you light up the first floor? And it doesn't have to be completely accurate when you don't have eyes. But essentially, the main other thing too is just if you can, always have like a rear security, or at least someone watching. This they could honestly probably be in a fight, probably be suppressing, not getting any, I don't know. But they just went through reconnaissance patrol. Another thing to note when you're stepping off from the airbase and going on your checkpoints and eventually getting your rally point, probably that's the SBF point. This whole time you're establishing your rate of march and your ROE for the mission. The ROE, it's kind of different for when you're just like on foot. There's more to it. You know, you kind of do want to change it sometimes. And I'm not talking like rules of engagement as in don't fire until you're fired upon. Well, that's basically what it is. But essentially, it's going to be a little bit more added. So when you're driving down, how we do like a reconnaissance patrol is we take shots right here. I mean, instead of pulling off and having everyone dismount and shoot this contact, we're trying to make time. We're trying to get to this element before they really know what's going on. And if this element hears everyone getting shot on every single checkpoint or in all these like areas up here, they're gonna know we're coming. So one thing would be to, at least for reconnaissance patrols and stuff like that, just punching it past the enemy. Sometimes, like at checkpoint 2, there was a roadblock. You have to fight through it. You need to dismount and you need to shoot. But most of the time, just keep your guys in the vehicles and keep that speed on your side. Another important note, let's say that we stop at this rally point and the enemy has eyes on us and has a forward observer and starts shooting artillery at us, or just IDF in general. Um, you can look for that observer and you can spot him, you can shoot him. All that is going to take precious time, and there's still rounds in the air. Best thing you can do when you're taking IDF in a convoy is just punch it. I'd say even for this RP, you can either choose to just go right for the SBF, make an assault, and it could be like a hasty attack, or you can just pull out, save your forces. You already know what's over here. Just pull out. But essentially, that's that for IDF and all that other good stuff. Alright, the last thing that we're going to go over is kind of like a basic down thing plan. Say, they just took this contact. There's a BTR-80 out there. Ripped him to shreds. They managed to kill the crew on the BTR-80. But our good old convoy commander just got hit. So essentially, it's going to drop to the assistant convoy commander. They're the next in line, and they also get to choose a probably competent vehicle commander to step in as their old spot. They're going to work with medical and establish a good, probably a CCP for them, or a Vic to come swing by and pick them up. Next thing, we need to pull everything that's crucial out of this vehicle before, it explodes or we dead it. That's going to be kind of all your launchers, any ammo that we're crucially needing, and that's essentially it, unless there's any other crazy things in there. Don't really have to worry about tires of these other vehicles or missing tires. And the last thing that we're going to do is either establish like a wrecker plan, so we're going to have someone tow it, which is usually not for force recon. But another issue that we could fix with this is just having someone come over and dead the vehicle and destroy it, so the enemy can't get their hands on it, and no radio equipment is getting in the wrong hands or whatever. On a final note, we're just gonna go over kind of the comms, leaving out and going around. So first things first, we're stepping off from Stratus Air Base. So we're just going to call this a FOB, since that's usually what we're establishing. It's just forward operation bases. So we're going to step off FOB Stratus. And essentially, the first vehicle, there's 4 Vics. So 4 vehicles. First vehicle is going to pass the wire. It's essentially the outside of the gate, kind of going out into the unknown for the danger zones. First Vic is going to copy Vic 1, leaving
Fob Stratus Airbase, 4 packs green. Essentially what they're saying by that is they have 4 personnel and equipment on them. So, you know, personnel, rifles, all that stuff. And green being your ace report, so your ammo, casualties, and equipment. So leaving the base, they should be definitely 4 packs green. If not, there's some huge issue. Uh, and that's just the number of people in the Vic, including the vehicle commander that's usually rogering this up. Second Vic is literally going to do the same thing. They had 5 because of the commander, so they just go Vic 2, or yeah, Vic 2. This is, well, Vic 2, this leaving Stratus Airbase, 5 packs green, and everyone else would roger that. You know, they're keeping about 100-meter spacing and just scanning the area, traveling at a rate of march of about, let's say 45 miles per hour. They come down, take a right at checkpoint 1, and they'd be like, Vic 1 passing checkpoint 1. Don't worry about the 4 packs green. We're good on that. But we're gonna roll all the way down there, and this is where our issue of the roadblock came up. So the first Vic, the nav Vic, would see the possible IED or hazard, and they call for a convoy halt, which is literally just convoy halt. And they could roger down braking. Kind of helps in arma when people are slam on brakes, because it's a death sentence when someone slams into the other person. But you're in a herringbone right here. You guys are gonna chill. If we're here for over a minute, we're gonna call a long halt. We're gonna dismount all of our dismounts. But after that, we're gonna step off. We're gonna drive around the obstacle, or just outright get around it, go through it. Call it up checkpoint 3, call up checkpoint 4, all that good stuff. The final thing is going to be your rally point, and pick 1 is going to say convoy be advised. Pick 1 pulling up to rally point. Well, rally point, I guess. And they're going to roger up their 4 pack screen. At the end of this, when the mission is over, we're all getting back in our vehicles, probably at the SBF point. We're going to go back through and roger up before we step off. Big 1, 4 packs, green, yellow, red, you know, all that good stuff. And we're going to step off. The drivers of those Vics and the gunners are ensuring that they have every single person in their vehicle before passing up how many packs they have in that vehicle. And then they're gonna work their way back. Convoy commander might have said, hey, we're taking the alternate route back, or just our normal route back. And the final thing is just coming back into base after you pass through all these checkpoints, call every single checkpoint you go through out. The only issue would be on these 5, 6, 7, maybe just saying you're going through checkpoint 7 and checkpoint 5 and just having one call that. But that's more of a CC's approach. They get to call that. Just so you're not getting checkpoint 7, 5, you know, being called at the same time by 2 different vehicles. And then the last thing is arriving on Stratus Airbase, 4 pack screen. Anyway, that's essentially that for that. There's a lot more details in the document that I'm writing, and it kind of covers basically everything way more in depth. This is just the very light approach to this, and I recommend checking it out. And if you are going to be a CC or an ACC or a vehicle commander, it is highly recommended to do this. Thank you.